All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about something kind of weird today, a paradox, really. What if the louder a country shouts about how great it is, the worse life actually is for the people living there? Let's unpack that.
I mean, just think about it for a second. We're all taught that national pride is a good thing, right? It's supposed to be about strength, about unity. But what if all that flexing, all that chest thumping and flag waving, what if it's actually a giant red flag, a sign that something's really wrong under the surface?
So yeah, we're calling this the flexing paradox. And it's this idea that just seems backwards at first. The countries that are putting on this big show of greatness for the rest of the world, a lot of the time, they're the very same ones that are completely dropping the ball back home.
Okay, so what do we even mean by national flexing? Well, it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's when a government stops focusing on, governing and starts focusing on putting on a performance. It's all about shouting from the rooftops. We're the best. We're number one. Look at us. It's a show for everyone else, not for its own people.
And this is where you really see that disconnect. The government's out there on the world stage flexing its muscles, but what's daily life like? It's a nightmare of clogged up bureaucracy, hostile public services, and just endless soul-crushing paperwork. The image is strength, but the reality for you, the citizen, is just stress. A total sense of unease. To really wrap our heads around this, let's bring it down to a human level. The source material for this explainer uses this absolutely brilliant analogy, and it's kind of the key to the whole thing. It's called the insecure dad analogy.
So picture this. A dad who's always going on about how strong he is, how smart he is, how he's the boss. Does that sound like a guy who's genuinely confident? No way. All that noise is just covering up for the fact that he's deeply insecure, chaotic, and pretty unreliable. He's performing strength because deep down, he knows he doesn't have it.
And here's where it really hits home. Living under that kind of energy, whether it's from a dad or from your government, it's just miserable. It's exhausting. You never feel like you're being supported. You just feel like you're constantly being lectured. That is what it feels like to live in one of these flexing nations.
Okay, so that's the analogy, but how does this actually play out with real countries? Well, the idea is that you can basically sort nations into two camps, the ones that flex and the ones that just work. Let's take a look.
All right, so on one side, you've got the quietly competent. Think Japan, Singapore, Canada, the Netherlands. These places aren't screaming about their greatness. They just get on with it. Then, on the other side, you have the loud and stressed. The US, China, Russia, the UK. These are the countries that are always talking about their global status, their power. You start to see the pattern, right? So what's it actually like to live in one of these quietly competent places? Well, because their government isn't wasting all its time and energy on theatrics, it can focus on making life good. Things are generally safer, more affordable, more efficient. There's a sense of calm. The whole system is just built for the comfort of the people.
And then you flip it. What about the loud and stressed nations? It's the complete opposite. In the US, there's all this talk about freedom, but daily life can be a grind of bureaucracy and insane costs. China talks about its grand destiny, but for the average person, it's rigid and full of pressure. The UK talks about its history, but its public services are falling apart. The national story just doesn't line up with what people are actually experiencing.
Okay, so this really gets to the heart of it. Why? Why does this happen? Why can't a country be both a flexing superpower and a great place to live? Well, it turns out there's a very simple, very fundamental reason why you really can't have both.
And it all comes down to this. Political energy, political attention, is a finite resource. It's not unlimited. Just like a person, a government can't focus on everything at the same time. You have to make choices. And where you choose to put your attention, that determines what gets done and what gets left to fall apart.
Think of it like a zero-sum game. Every ounce of energy a government spends on its external image, on propaganda, on geopolitical posturing, on all that great power chest thumping, that's energy that is literally being drained away from the things that make a society function. Things like public comfort, transit, healthcare, infrastructure, all that stuff suffers because the focus is somewhere else entirely.
And that right there is the real cost. It's not really about money. It's not about the budget. The most precious, the most expensive resource in government is attention. And when the people in charge are obsessed with flexing for the world, their attention is in the wrong place. And it's the regular people who end up paying the price every single day.
So let's pull all these threads together. What's really going on here? The deeper truth, the big idea, is that this isn't really about politics. At its core,
It's about psychology.
It's like a chain reaction, and it's actually pretty simple. Step 1, all that national flexing we see, it's really just a sign of deep national insecurity. Step 2, that insecurity makes the government obsessed with performing, with its image, instead of actually serving its people. And then step 3, that bad performance-focused governance is what creates the stressful, bureaucratic, miserable daily life for its citizens. It all connects.
And really, that is the big takeaway here. This isn't some dry lesson in geopolitics. It's a psychological truth that's just playing out on a massive global stage. Think about it. The same kind of deep-seated insecurity that makes a person really difficult to be around, it's the exact same thing that can make a country a really difficult place to live.
So, I'll leave you with this one question to think about. Look at your own country. Look at its leaders, its priorities, what it talks about. And just ask yourself, is it performing for me, or is it performing for the world? The answer to that question, well, it might just tell you everything you need to know.